You know, that horrible sinking feeling you get on Sunday nights, knowing that you have to go back to work the next day and you just don't want to. Even if your company went remote due to the pandemic, there's still that building sense of dread because you know you want something different. One of my favorite things about teaching moms how to work from home through freelancing is showing them how accessible it is. If all you need to start is a computer, a Wi Fi, and the willingness to work hard and commit to your goals, why not just start? And that's why in today's episode of Free Mama TV, I want to walk you through how you can launch your own business, most specifically through answering your questions based on why you don't want to go back to work in the first place. So make sure you stick around until the end because I'm going to make you speed up that whole how do I get started thing even faster by giving you a checklist that is going to make your job soon a thing of the past. Okay, on today's episode, I'm going to be answering your questions when it comes to not wanting to go back to your job. And I can very much relate to this because back before I left my 9 to 5, I was miserable. I lived for Fridays because even Saturdays felt like the pre-Sundays, which was the dreaded, now I have to do all the things that all working people have to do on Sundays, like laundry and groceries and whatever, to get ready to leave my kids again on Monday morning. And my catalyst was really being away from my children. So motherhood for me changed the way that I felt about my entire career and how I was living my life. But flash forward to 2019, 2020, now all of a sudden we have a global pandemic that I think made a lot of people question what they want out of life. And the reality is we spend more time at work usually than we do with our own families. And at the Free Mama, that's kind of a problem. In case you didn't know, our whole mission is to make sure no mother has to choose between family and financial stability. And in today's episode, I'm going to answer your questions about not going back to your job so that you can live your own totally awesome guilt-free life. So let's dive in. Okay, our first question comes from Angel inside of the Free Mama Movement Facebook group. She says, "Hello, mamas. What Free Mama videos would you recommend to get my business started right away? I'm about to go on maternity leave tomorrow, so I hopefully have a little time to get my business started before my daughter gets here. I'm desperate to get started already because I don't want to have to go back to work and leave her." And I think for us moms, a lot of us can relate to this yearning, this sense of like, okay, I just created this human and I want to be the person who raises them. And yeah, I still have to pay my bills. So I totally understand where you're coming from, Angel. As far as videos that I would recommend to get started, you can find a lot right here on Free Mama TV, as well as this video right here. So make sure that you are using this channel as a resource. And I will give you a few that I recommend right here, like getting started with no experience and the things you need that don't cost a lot of money. The beautiful thing about freelancing or being a service provider, working from home, having an online business. So we're talking virtual assistants, social media management, any sort of digital marketing, copywriting, all of these different things, which if your head is spinning, by the way, don't worry. We're going to cover that in another question about experience. But you are qualified to get started. You don't need a degree or a certification. So as far as, in addition to watching these videos, here's my best tip for you or anybody who wants to get started right away. You are done with the excuses. You are highly motivated not to go back to your job. If I'm talking to you, let me know down in the comments below. The best way to get started is to start talking about it. And in order to know what you're even talking about when it comes to your freelancing business, you need to know enough about the services you're going to provide and who needs those services. Okay. So I have an amazing resource for you. You can go to the freemamamovement.com/70skills. Find that link down below this video, download this, print it out, get an old school highlighter or some pens or a pencil or whatever you've got nearby and start looking at, of all of these tasks that entrepreneurs are actively outsourcing, which do I already know how to do? And which am I interested in learning more about? Because the fun thing about being a freelancer is you can grow and evolve. And the more you develop a skill, especially like a harder skill, the more money you can make. But your question was, how do I get started ASAP? You get started as soon as possible by leveraging the skills that you already have. Why? There's no learning curve. You're ready to jump in to do this. And we call this low hanging fruit. So once you've downloaded this freebie and you figured out what services you can provide and give it a label. So are you a virtual assistant? Are you a graphic designer? Are you a copywriter? Are you a tech VA? Where are these skills falling in? Now we've got a framework to talk about what we do. Now you need to identify who is outsourcing for these skills. And I've got some videos all about this as well, how to find high paying clients and how to market yourself online. You're going to want to watch these videos on this channel, but this is how you get started. And now that you know what you're providing and who needs these things, you have to start talking about it. So show up online, show up on there's job boards. There's all different ways to find clients online. I've got that video right here too. And just make sure you're getting loud. Your friends and family should know what you're doing, not because you're trying to sell anything to them, but because this is a Laurenism inside the community. If nobody knows what you're doing, how can they connect you to the people you're meant to serve? So referrals are going to be really big for getting started in a freelancing business. And don't be afraid to just get started. Roll up your sleeves and get started. I have 3 videos all about how to price your services as well. So you can get that question answered and see how you can very quickly, in the scheme of things, replace your job so that you can be home with your baby. So Angel, that's where I would recommend getting started. Plus, make sure you stick around until the end of this video as well, because I've got that resource for you, that roadmap for getting started, your checklist that you're going to need, and that'll help you cross all these things off as well. So there you go, Angel. Okay, our next submission came from Laura. Laura says she's looking for help and opinions. She's thinking about starting a new adventure such as freelancing. She is a teacher turned stay-at-home mom of 2 kids. She's got a 3-year-old and a 1-year-old, so I get it. My kids were that young when I started my business as well. It's challenging, and you're not sure that you want to go back to work teaching once your kids get in school. You think you want to try something different. So my question is, how and when do you make the time to learn, acquire new skills and/or work? I feel like my kids take my entire day and then I'm so exhausted at night. I can't ever bring myself to do anything after they go to bed. How are you fitting this all in? Such a valid question, Laura. And for all of us who have been homeschooling or managing virtual school, or maybe you're working a 9-to-5 plus you're a mom and you're like, how do I get off this hamster wheel of life? Like, I don't want to go back to work, but I don't see how I can bridge that gap between leaving my steady paycheck and then just like having a business overnight. And I have lots of time management tools. Most specifically, I would love for you to check out this video about time blocking and this video about the Daily 5. Make sure you understand these 2 tools. These tools alone will help you craft your day. But I'm not going to lie to you. If you are starting your side hustle or your side gig or your future career while you're at your 9-to-5, it's going to require some sacrifice. Time is not just magically going to present itself, nor is energy. So the first thing I'd look at is, do you have healthy habits? After you put your kids to bed at night, I know you're burnt out, but are you staying up an extra 4 hours watching Netflix? Or are you getting a good night's sleep? And can you wake up early in the morning and make that sacrifice to put in an hour of networking before your kids wake up? Do you have nap time at 3 and 1-year-old? My 3-year-olds, by the way, had totally stopped napping. So solidarity if that's you, but we still did quiet time. So how can you create the time? Because you're right. If you're just looking at your day the way that your day already is, it's going to be hard to fit it in. You're going to have to start to design your day and your time, knowing that you're putting an hour or 2 into growing your business, or most specifically, you asked about learning a new skill. As far as learning a new skill, number 1, we have to start by like tooting our own horn. If you're an educator, you have gifts, you have talents, and you have skills that can be monetized. Okay, let's start there. Number 2, I'm all for being a lifelong learner. So the fastest way to learn a skill is to follow the example of someone who's already done what you're trying to achieve. So I am a huge proponent of investing in courses, investing in mentorship. With that being said, you can pretty much learn anything on the internet for free, including right here on this channel. So watch some YouTube videos, but rather than getting shiny object and doing all the things, I like to think about, both investing in learning, but also investing my time in something as, what's the problem I'm trying to solve? If you're interested in social media management, for example, now we have a target. Now we're not just watching endless YouTube videos, but we know I want to go buy a course that's going to teach me this to solve this problem, or I'm going to start investing my time as opposed to my money in watching YouTube videos about Instagram management or YouTube management or whatever the thing is. And now we've got a really clear focus. Combined with those two tools, time blocking and the daily 5, now you can really set some intention. So put aside 30 minutes during nap time. That's your learn time. You should not be folding laundry. You should not be loading the dishwasher. You have to start to treat your business like it's a business and like you're a business owner if you're going to want to leave that 9 to 5 behind so that you can be home with your kids. Now, I have 2 more resources not on this channel, but if you check out the Free Mama Radio podcast, I've got 2 episodes all about shifting our mentality from employee to business owner, and that might help you as well, Laura. So best of luck to you. Keep me posted on how it's going. Controlling your schedule, managing your schedule, and creating time rather than just passively trying to fit things in. And I think that you will see the growth and development inside of yourself as well as your business that you are hoping for. Okay, our final question about I don't want to go back to my job comes from Michelle through the Facebook group as well. She asked, does anyone know of work from home jobs I could do while trying to build my own business? I just don't have the financial flexibility not to have some type of income. Okay, first of all, Michelle, you are not the only one in that situation. My question to you is, does it make sense to replace one type of job with another type of job in order to build your business? Or are you supplementing just one thing for the other when the reality is you want to be over here? And I understand financial necessity. I totally do. So some advice there would be really think about what's going to give you the freedom and the flexibility from one job to the other so that we're not making a lateral move. We're truly and intentionally positioning ourselves to have more freedom and flexibility to create our own business if that's your end game. She also goes on to say, she needs at least $1,000 a month. So again, we go back to our wants, needs, haves. So she has to make $1,000 a month, which I love that you've done that work and you know that. And then she says, I really don't want to go back to work and have to pay childcare costs again. I totally feel you there. That's really super challenging. And this is really hard to be going through during the pandemic when a lot of people are looking for something more fulfilling. And if you guys have left your house at all in the last 6 months, you may have noticed that because of the millions of people who have left the workforce, either by choice or not by choice, there are for hire signs everywhere. Like every establishment I have been to in the last 6 months all across the country, because we went on an RV trip, have said now hiring. So a lot of people, it's not for a lack of employment. We really, as the people, have more say right now than ever because there's so many options available to us. So again, Michelle, make sure if you're making a move from your job because of these childcare costs and whatever, make sure that you are making a strategic move, not a lateral move. Don't exchange one thing for the other if it's not solving any problems for you. With that being said, if you were able to stay at your job long enough to set some money aside, or if you're able to take some of those time management strategies that we gave to Laura, and you're able to juggle both for a while, a side gig, while maintaining the current job that you have temporarily, knowing that you're really setting yourself up for that 1,000K month, because that is super accessible in the world of freelancing. So again, this is really more of a strategic planning conversation. As far as work from home jobs, there's tons of resources. Again, I want to reiterate this video about where you can find work online. That's both in the freelancing space as well as W-2 employment, working from home. So there's a lot of opportunities available now. But with that being said, a lot of employers are starting to bring their people back into the office as we kind of go into this next phase of whatever this pandemic looks like. So hopefully some of your questions were answered today. If you are someone who knows that the 9 to 5 life is not for you anymore, you want more control, you want more flexibility, not just over your time, but also your income, and you're tired of someone else telling you where to be and how much you're going to get paid, the freelancing life might be for you. So I've got a couple things for you. First, I promised you that free resource, and you can find a link to that checklist down below. What I'm going to have you do is come find me on Instagram, and I'm going to share it with you. So you can find that link to my Instagram handle below. Send me a DM, and I've got that resource ready to fire off to you. Again, this is our how to get started in freelancing checklist, and it's going to go over everything you need to do, which sounds like a lot, but it's really not. And the barrier entry is for so low. If you've got a computer, Wi-Fi, the initial investment is almost nothing to get started, and everything is optional. So I want to share that resource with you. I also, if this is like on your heart where you're like, I cannot go back to work, I also want to invite you to attend a free training that I put together just for you. It's all about the free mama lifestyle, how to work from home. And we go in a lot more in depth about what freelancing is, as well as kind of the strategies you need to know to become successful more quickly. So remember what I told you about learning new skills. You got to find the person who's already done what you want to do, follow their path, and you're going to get results more quickly than you are if you try to piece things together. So you can find a link to that free training down below, or check out thefreemamamovement.com. And I would love to tell you more and spend that hour with you going in more detail. If you are looking for people who also want to leave their job and don't want to go back to work, make sure you join that Free Mama Movement Facebook group that I mentioned a couple times on this video. We'll throw you a link to that as well. And as always, if you liked today's episode of Free Mama TV, let me know. Share it with other people who don't want to be employed anymore. And make sure you comment below with hashtag I am a free mama if you too are going to find a way not to go back to your job. I'll see you next time. Shh. Stoops, stop crying. Why are you crying? Okay, last word. Okay, our last and calendar reminder.